Who's smiling?
We will here. I'm playing DD, the fabulous tall drink of cocoa on this ship to get away from my estranged relationship with my man Steve, and here to have a good time, and all sorts of shit pops off. That's basically it. Puck, Manfred, would you like to go now?
Whoa!
Okay. Sorry. Sorry. I'm Buck Manfred. I'm Lord 2000 in channel. I play this character is coming from Belgium. He has done money laundry, and he is on this cruise to relax, but he knows his way around.
I am Mira from Arstotzka. I on cruise with rabies.
I'm Miss Scarlett Nitz. I play Betty, the professor of film history.
Whoa.
You're up, Pathfinder.
My name's Cletus Bubba Jr. And here on this ship last week, we went to this big fancy dinner. It was in this big hall, and the owner of the ship come out, and he was talking to us, and he wanted everybody to have a good time. And we got in there, and this guy from Texas comes up, Mr. Haynes, I think his name was. And he starts talking to us there, and just being all friendly and everything, and then he gets up and he starts sweating real bad, and then all of a sudden he just croaks right out in the middle of the table and falls out almost about dead. And so they pack him up and carry him off to the infirmary, and we take his wife and help her on back up to her room, and she gets up in her room, and then later on we was all hanging around down there, and then we heard this woman scream, and she come running up there saying that her husband had done bit her on the leg. And was it the leg or was it the arm?
On the arm, sir.
The arm, yeah.
The same very arm that you sucked on to get the fluids out of her. Remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you did.
You did. You did.
So we drug her back up to her room, but before we could get her up to the room and get her all situated and stabled out, she croaked out too in the room and quit breathing, and it all happened because this piece of work Queen Dee Dee done smacked her right slap in the face and brutally assaulted this lady.
Queen.
I didn't touch it, Cletus. I didn't touch it.
With this brutal assault that he perpetrated on this lady, he done made a bad mistake, and I'm pretty sure that it killed her. So we left the room and we left her because we didn't want nobody to know that Dee Dee had killed this lady. So we left the room and we walked out, and then a few minutes later, this woman got back up and was coming back to life. And she wasn't all herself. She wasn't all there in her head. So we went down and we went to the infirmary, and in the infirmary, we found Mr. Haynes down there again. Except Mr. Haynes was munching on some doctor down in the infirmary, and it looked to be that he was biting him in his neck and eating his neck. So at that time, we decided that it probably wasn't a good thing with all the dead bodies and the blood everywhere. It wasn't a good thing for us to be down there. So we left, we went back, we shut ourselves all up in one room. And about that time, we heard a few gunshots and some screams outside, and all chaos erupted. There was people eating people, people jumping off the boat. There was the boat's police that was running around, and they were chasing these freaks that was trying to bite other shit people. I mean, biting them in their necks and their heads and trying to eat their brains and stuff. It's crazy. So this fella that runs the ship's security force come and got us because he thought we had something to do with it. And he pulls us down in the security offices, and he tells us that whether we wanted to or not, now we were part of it, and we had to help him fix this. We had to help him end this on this boat and get all of us off of this boat safe. And so in the security office with him is where we are right now.
That is it. Nice recap. And yeah, you did. I specifically remember you sucking the blood. You said you're going. I believe you said
No.
we're going
I
full
specifically remember I did
redneck.
not.
I believe we're going full redneck.
No.
So,
No. I specifically remember I did not.
all right.
Let us
So
review the tape, shall we?
yeah. So
Cue the
as
video.
you guys
The
can see
footage.
here, top left-hand corner. Kind of recap a little bit. The gentleman on the left is definitely Mr. Forthington. He is the ship's owner. Swaggy looking guy, you know. Man on the right is Captain Romero. Captain Scoobing Romero is his name. We also have, there's several more individuals that you'll remember seeing. The man on the left is of course, that is Kirkman. The man on the right, that is Mr. Haynes that you had seen at the table, the outgoing Texan, billionaire, many oil fields and
I
cattle.
thought he was shorter and bigger.
Yeah, that's him, Bay. That's definitely him. You met his wife.
Don't you remember him?
Yeah. You met his wife, but this is the zombie version that you remember of her as after the first time that you had seen, you know, as she was going off with her husband that was on the stretcher and the other medical personnel on the ship. They took him to the infirmary, like Cleta said, and then as she came back running, she was bit, and she ended up turning into this, and, you know, that's basically what you guys saw of her. Now, as for the, you guys are here currently, which is in the high-tech security room of
Yeah.
Security
Looks
Man
like we're about to
Kirkman.
play a game of Clue.
Oh. So, I cannot do this if you want, Bay. We can just do a whiteboard if you want. Would you rather just have a whiteboard, or because we can do that if you want?
All right, I'm pretty sure I was negative in my commentary, but I like it.
I'm trolling you, Bay. I love it. I'm trolling Bay. Now, you guys are here in the security office, and like we had
I see the
left
ballroom
off.
on them pictures. There.
Yeah, well, where we left off was Kirkman basically drew his gun, and this is just after, remember, Forthington and also Captain Romero came in, and basically Kirkman wanted to call the Coast Guard, and Romero was in sort of like an agreement in what you guys could see from him walking out of the room. But it was Forthington was the one that was actually like no, and basically demanded it that it would be handled internally. So that's when basically Kirkman's radio went off again. There was something going on back on floor 3, and that's when you guys basically closed up the security room, started traveling down some halls, and that's where we're at now. You guys basically, I'll go over the last part. So you guys basically turn the corner, and there is a source of screams that was assailing you. So you guys, basically broke off. You went around several more corners, down nice fancy halls and around corners, and then all of a sudden, that's when you guys broke away from Kirkman. Kirkman says, meet back up here. Just check out what the screams are. You guys are basically back at the infirmary, which is going to be down here under the first picture, under our prestigious Captain Romero there. So this is what one of the infirmaries look like. A little bit bigger than this one, but you get the idea. So as you guys round the corner, this is basically where you see all of these people starting to scream, starting to run, and it's just basically chaotic. And it's crazy. You see 12 people running towards you. You see 3 of these flesh-eating creatures, whatever you want to call them. They're actually running really close to you. There's blood everywhere on the walls. The lights are, basically the backup lights are turning on, turning off, turning on, and then they stay on for a little bit. Then they'll go off for a second, flick back on. So it's really chaotic. So what do you guys think? This first maiden voyage hasn't.
We're here by ourselves, right?
Yeah, the maiden voyage hasn't gone too well for you guys. I mean, this is disastrous. I mean, this is basically worst case scenario.
And what kind of shithole am I thrown in? I'm thinking.
Hey, what's
what
up,
does this
Hangman?
guy expect us to do? I mean, he sent us over here and give us no guns, no vests, or nothing, man. I ain't dealing with this shit.
Well, you guys all have
Keep
knives.
an eye out for any purses or any belongings laying around unattended.
Oh my God, Vita.
Just point them out to me.
I'm gonna move you guys over to a hallway really quick. This is basically what you guys see right here.
Holy crap.
All right. You guys rounded the corner. Cletus, this is you right here. Even though you don't have a baseball bat, that's the best token I can find that would represent you. This token here is Puck. This is Betty, minus the red hair. I'll have to give her red hair next week. This is Vera, and then here's old Dee Dee here. So, so you guys,
like I'm getting ready to work on a car or something. All right.
you guys
I think you're ready
can
to shot, buddy.
move your.
About 350.
You can move your tokens around. You can see all of these people, this influx of people here. They're all running towards you. And, basically, there's 3 of these creatures, several dead people. There's blood everywhere in the hallway. So what do you guys want to do? Kirkman basically told you to check it out, check out the screens, and get back to him. You guys can make your own choice here.
Let's get the fuck out of here. Guys, there ain't nothing we can do. Let's get the fuck out of here and go back and tell Kurt
You know
what's
what?
going on.
I'm with Dee Dee. Let's get the crap out of here. We don't have any kind of weapons. We don't have any way to fight back.
You have the knives, so you do have knives.
You
So
have a knife.
it's not like you don't have any
But Vera,
weapons.
we seen this guy get shot with a gun and get right back up. What the fuck you think a knife's gonna do, woman?
Yeah.
I'll cut his legs off.
I think hell's froze over and the devil's selling snow cones because I'm still agreeing with Dee Dee.
That's right, Cletus. I know what I'm talking about. I ain't sticking around and getting ate by one of these biting damn things. Rabies, whatever Vera says they got. I don't want it.
Yes, the
No,
rabies.
rabies would be too modern.
Modern. What you talking about, woman?
Well, judging from what we saw earlier in the infirmary, plus what we saw in the
She's like the
security
Daphne
office,
of the group.
we're talking
Thelma, I mean.
1968 here.
Right, look,
I'm looking through my book to
1968.
translate these things.
we don't need a dissertation here. We need to get the crap out of here. Let's go.
Yeah, these people are
We
barreling
ain't
towards
your
you.
I don't
college
want to step on
students.
anyone's toes.
We need to fall back.
She's
So
talking about 1968. I won't even born then.
You guys want to fall back to the infirmary and report back to security guard Kirkman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm running.
Old Jason Kirkman. All right, so everybody, you guys, if you guys wanted to
okay.
attack the zombies, you could have done that. It doesn't matter to me, but you just would have had to do
Yeah.
a strength check to push through the crowd because they basically engulfed you as you guys, were running away. So let me get you guys back on the other map. All right, so you guys are basically back at the infirmary. All right. Jason's there. Jason Kirkman, he's there. He's asking you for a report. You can also see that. Well, when you guys first run on the corner to the infirmary, there were several of these living dead that were in there. And he's basically, he and several other of the security guards that are there now, they've basically subdued him. They're not moving, and he says something about shoot them in the head, is what he was talking about. Jason Kirkman. You could hear that he was basically screaming it. Gunshots were going out, and as you guys finished rounding the corner, the the gunshots went silent, and then you could see him and several of the other security guards standing over some of these living dead bodies.
Okay.
Hey, just a quick GM question.
Sure.
What was our objective in that all?
Just to ascertain what was going on.
Yeah, to find out what
Oh,
was
okay,
going on. Just
okay.
find out
Yeah.
what the screams were about.
All right, cool.
Kirkman, we've checked that hallway out, and it looks like that these things are up there. They're biting people in the hallway. People are panicking. They're running. They're screaming. There's blood and guts and flesh and muscle and everything all over the walls. It looks like a war zone up there, man.
1968.
1968? What do
Yeah.
you mean? 1968? What do you
I think
mean?
that-
That'd be
knows
the year
something.
that Night of the Living Dead came out.
Not
You mean
the
the zombie movie?
White movie?
Veer's just
The zombie
Reduction
movie,
is what
Betty?
What?
What does
Yes.
the Living Dead have to do with this?
You're seeing exactly what I'm saying, right?
I do. I'm seeing these shambling corpses coming back to life and attacking us and eating people's guts, eating people's faces. This is a worst case scenario, Betty. I don't see how a movie could shed any light on this subject. I mean, this is the real thing.
You don't see a parallel between what's going on here and what the fallout from the satellite from Venus in that movie was.
Satellites in Venus. What
yes,
the fuck?
and swamp gas.
All right.
You lost me, woman. You lost me.
I'm confused.
So
Anyhow,
what are you saying about these? I mean, well, Betty, what are you saying? I mean, how do you know this?
Well, I do teach film, and horror is one of the lectures that I do give every year. It's your classic zombie archetype from 1968.
So you're saying that
I slide
these are zombies,
up to Vera.
and he kind of
Say, I think this
kicks
white
one
woman.
over with
I
a
think this
steel.
white woman started the rabies. She knows something about it.
rabies.
I don't want to step on anyone's toes.
One of the medical
I wanna deal
personnel
with it.
comes over and hears you speaking about this, and he asks you, what could be the cause of this? I mean, there has to be a cause for this. Does not start naturally. It's scientifically and mathematically impossible for this thing to start on its own.
Well, scientifically, I don't know. I mean, depending on the movies, you're looking at virus, bacteria, bioengineering.
As soon as I hear
Sumatra
that, I
and
grab a
rat.
face mask off of the infirmary, wherever I can find one day, and put that shit on my face.
Oh, it's not really breathed in. You get really infected by a bite, or even if they brush up against an open wound.
I bring my head up from my book and I say, "Oh, super rabies."
Yeah, I start covering every open piece of skin on my body.
Well, if
I
it
don't
was
want
like
this shit.
quarantine, where it basically was rabies, then you could actually just kill them by shooting them in the torso, or any way you would kill a natural human being. That's not going to work here. If this is, in fact, your classic modern
We're just hollering
zombie.
about shooting them in the head.
Yeah, that would be your best bet.
That's what we just figured out as we were attacking these. As this lady here, what is your name, Mrs. Who? Ms. Who?
Gunderson.
Miss Gunderson here is
Gunder.
explaining these 1968 zombies. We were shooting them. They kept coming at us, and one of our bullets struck it in the head. The head exploded, and it stopped coming towards us. We would literally put
Yes, you have
12
to kill
rounds.
the brain, not just the skull, but the brain.
You could be onto something here, then, Miss Gunderson.
What about cutting the head off? That work?
Sometimes, but no, actually, if you just cut off the spinal cord, you still want to get to the brain.
So he's on his radio calling for
Dave, I'm searching
all
around.
security. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of medical equipment in here, a lot of supplies, bottles of water. There's a lot of things in here. What are you specifically
Kirkman,
looking
how many-
for?
I'm specifically looking for antiseptics, like hand sanitizer,
Yeah, there's
before rubbing alcohol
several of
all over me.
the little
Yeah.
the little plastic stations that are on the wall, by the doors and stuff. Yeah, there's these little hands, and plus you could see them throughout the halls also, where it says, always scrub your hands with sanitizer. You just wipe your hands clean. So they're on the walls throughout the corridors, and also there's
I'm
several
gonna pocket
in
a
here
few
too.
bottles out of them.
All right. So they're pretty big bottles. So you're going to probably have to carry the bottles around because they are actually pretty big. They're like a dish soap size bottle.
Okay, I will take one.
Okay. Kirkman gets back on his
Kirkman,
radio.
how many,
Starts. Yes, please.
Kirkman, how many security people you got on this boat?
I'm trying to get a head count now, but I had a total of 24. I do know that several of them are no longer with us because of these things, which is not good on my part. I'm going to have to let these families know. Hopefully I have just about all the men left, and I only have about 12 checking back in, so which is not a good thing.
Well, I can tell you by what we saw up in that hallway, you're going to need more than 24 men.
So what was in the hallway? Can you give me a little bit more details? What are we looking at here? I'm trying to keep it under
Well,
control
we're talking
here.
about-
We need to keep this under wraps. We need to
Talking-
find out who's infected, what's causing this. We need to keep the people in their rooms. There's too many people running around. It's just crazy.
No, we need to get to lifeboats.
I cannot leave the
what you
ship.
said.
I cannot leave the ship. Not yet. Not until
You
I
may
have
stay.
the
I
not until
need
I have the
lifeboat.
order from Captain Romero. He has not called for an
These
abandoned
people up
ship.
here are going. These people up here are going crazy.
Yeah,
They're going crazy. They are biting people. They are eating people up here in the hallway, and it's put a panic on to where people are running and into chaos. Some of them are getting bit. Some of them are getting pulled back into them, and it's chaos. The whole boat's turning into chaos.
All right, so as you guys are basically talking with Kirkman, several of the security guards get back, and they also have several injured of the passengers that are injured with bite marks and stuff. And they start pulling them in here and getting them into the beds. And there's several medical personnel left. Oh yeah, there's several medical personnel left. And they're starting to treat the wounds, and you can see they're trying to clean out the wounds and get them all bandaged up and stuff.
You better
And
cut
it's not
them.
gonna work.
You
I
better
say to
cut
one of the
them
What do you
down.
mean it's not gonna
you
work?
Shoot them
You-
in the head.
I can't shoot these living people in the head.
Okay, we'll just
No,
hang around and
you're,
wait
you're
till they
Shoot them
die.
later then.
infected while you're still living. It's once you're dead that you turn into one of these. At this point, depending on how spread it is, you can just cut off a limb.
It should be cut. Oh my God! Cut off a limb. A couple of the medical personnel in here says we just do not have the equipment to talk about cutting limbs off. That's just ludicrous. This man just has a bite mark
Really?
on him.
There's no fire hatchet?
No
Sh-
chainsaw?
Sure, there's. I don't know about chainsaws, but we're not in the Middle Ages here, Mrs. Gunderson. We do have medical protocol to follow here, and a bite wound just does not call for cutting off of an entire limb.
Well, then you let me know how that works out for you.
Wait and see, I say.
Can I at least suggest that you put them in a place where they're kind of corralled, all in one area where they can't get out,
We can
Yeah,
put them back
handcuffs.
into the back. We can put them into the back.
or handcuff them to the beds?
He starts to laugh. He goes, "These are not prisoners of the Pinnacle, sir. These are passengers that are trying to get help that they need, the medical help that they
No,
need." And
you're not understanding though. It's not just for your safety. It's for their safety as well.
At this point, it's just quarantine.
well, we can do that. Then we'll set up this room back in the back, and then there's some curtains up. The curtains in the hospital. He opens up the curtains, and there's another larger room in the back, dark. But he turns on some security lights, and they start wheeling beds in there, whatever medical personnel's left. And Kirkman tells the other guards to help them out. Then he tells you that they'll restrain him, and they'll get some ties up here, and they'll get these people restrained. Now, what we're going to do now, Kirkman says, is we need to go to the bridge, and we need to confront Forthington. We need to.
Yeah, get on that radio and call.
This is just unacceptable.
This is running out of fans.
As head security of the ship, I cannot do this. I will never work again.
Yeah, I told Kirkland that you stop taking orders and start giving orders.
That's what I'm gonna have to do, Mrs. Vera. That's what I'm gonna have to do. So he tells everybody to follow close behind him, and you guys can head off to the bridge. All right. Now, when you get to the bridge, as you're traveling to the bridge, you see more of this pandemonium going on. You're Kirkman's taking you to a lot of the balcony, access that the normal passengers don't have. This is where crew travel, the other security personnel. So he's able to, whisk you pretty securely to the bridge. Now, when you go up to the stairs to the bridge, this is pretty much what the bridge looks like. Beautiful. I mean, this is a beautiful bridge. You've been up here once before, but the scene is beautiful. Just water all around you. Well, little intimidating now because there's the possibility of having 3,000 of these shambling walkers around you, but everything's really nice. Wooden, everything is wooden consoles everywhere, all this electrical equipment. Some of it's turned off, some of it is flashing. There's a couple captain's chairs up there, all of these nautical compasses and gauges, and it's just a sight. So when you get up to the bridge, Kirkman, he gets to the front and he basically announces to Captain Ramiro that he is relieving Captain Ramiro of his duties and he is going to now be the captain of the vessel. Then he turns to you guys and said that these are my witnesses to the action that I'm taking according to maritime law. So now Captain Ramiro, when he says, when Kirkman says that, it kind of takes you guys by surprise. I don't know if you guys were expecting that, but Kirkman's tired of fucking around. Kirkman wants results.
What is happening now?
So now, Kirkman announces he's going to be the captain of the ship. At this time, Ramiro, he turns as white as a ghost. And, he starts to stutter around and he's like, well, I'm trying to contact the Coast Guard. That's why I'm up here. Forthington left, but as he was leaving, there was some kind of security code that he put into the radio system, and I can't even make any goddamn calls off of the ship now. Some security measures that I never even knew about that were on the Pinnacle. And here's Forthington. This has to be Forthington's fault. Because Forthington now just shut down the radio. I can't do any kind of distress signal to the Coast Guard. So now everybody thinks that everything's going to be fine on the Pinnacle, and then we're going to be fucked out here in the middle of the goddamn Atlantic Ocean. And every other word out of his mouth is he's on the side of Kirkman. And Kirkman basically asked him, why did you not speak up in there? He goes, we had to get rid of Forthington. We basically had to get rid of him, tell him to go to his quarters. Several of his personal security are with him. And that's the last thing he saw as they left the security office down where you guys were at. Forthington went with his security personnel, and Romero came up here. But whenever Romero came up here, that's when Forthington got here, put some kind of codes, and then basically the radio shut off, basically. And he doesn't have.
So Forthington don't know where he at.
He should be in his quarters. And Kirkman's
so
pissed
let's go
off.
find Forthington.
We got to
make
get him
talk.
talk. We got to get that code out of him.
Yeah, Kirkman's going over to
I
the
know.
radio. He's like fixing to smash this radio. He's trying to call out, and the radio's just. Unfortunately, there's nothing Kirkman can do
hold on
about
for
it.
a moment. I say to Kirkman, hold on for a moment. I know something of electronics. Maybe
Okay.
I can rewire it.
Sure. What would you like to do? as he takes a big drag off of his cigarette, and then says, "Let me take care of this." What are you gonna do there, Puck?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Puck?
Uh,
What is the meaning of this? I don't have time. What are you gonna do? What do you think you're gonna be able to do? A billionaire